Hey Force Fiction fans, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the Star Wars universe with epic original tales. Today we're dropping you into a thrilling what-if adventure. Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano, two renegades who've left the Jedi Order behind, are on a high-stakes mission to protect the galaxy's forgotten. With the Stellar Wraith as their ride, they're battling Separatist bounty hunters in a shadowy conspiracy that could change everything. Buckle up for action, heart, and a twist that'll keep you glued to your screen. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell to join our crew. Let's jump to hyperspace. Here's the story. Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the Republic stood on the brink of chaos. The Clone Wars raged, pitting the Jedi Order and their clone armies against the Separatist forces led by Count Dooku. Amid the turmoil, a young Jedi Knight, Anakin Skywalker, grappled with his loyalty to the Order and his growing disillusionment with its rigid doctrines. When his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, faced exile after being wrongfully accused of treason, a pivotal moment arose. What if Anakin, torn between duty and love for his apprentice, chose to leave the Jedi Order with her, setting them on a path that would reshape the galaxy? The air in the Jedi Temple's High Council chamber was thick with tension. Ahsoka Tano stood at the center, her green-blue eyes defiant yet weary. The Council's verdict had been delivered. She was to be expelled from the Jedi Order, her braids severed, her future uncertain. The evidence against her, framed for the bombing of the temple hangar, had been circumstantial, but the Council's trust in her had wavered. Only Anakin Skywalker, her master, had fought tirelessly to prove her innocence, but even his passion could not sway the Council's decision. Anakin stood at the edge of the chamber, his fists clenched, his heart a storm of rage and betrayal. He had believed in the Jedi, in their wisdom, their justice. But now, watching Ahsoka face their judgment alone, he saw only hypocrisy. The Council had abandoned her just as they had dismissed his own struggles, his fears, his questions. Yoda's measured words, Obi-Wan's cautious restraint, Mace Windu's unyielding severity, they all felt like chains tightening around him. Master Skywalker, Yoda said, his voice calm but firm, accept the Council's decision. You must. A path forward young Tano will find. Anakin's gaze snapped to Yoda, his blue eyes blazing. A path forward. You're casting her out, stripping her of everything she's fought for. She's innocent, and you know it. Know it, we do not, Mace Windu interjected, his tone sharp. The evidence is compelling, and the Order cannot afford division in these times. Ahsoka's fate is her own now. Ahsoka's voice cut through the chamber, steady despite the weight of her words. I don't need your pity, Master Windu. If the Jedi can't trust me, then I don't belong here. She turned to Anakin, her expression softening. Anakin, you've done everything you could. This isn't your fault. But Anakin shook his head, stepping forward. No, Ahsoka. This is my fault. I brought you into this Order, promised to protect you, to teach you, and now... His voice cracked, his anger giving way to anguish. I can't let you face this alone. The Council stirred, unease rippling through the chamber. Obi-Wan Kenobi, seated near Yoda, leaned forward, his brow furrowed. Anakin, think carefully. Your place is with the Jedi. You are needed in this war. Needed? Anakin spat, his voice rising. For what? To fight your battles, to follow your orders while you abandon those who need you most? Ahsoka isn't just my Padawan, she's family, and if you can't see that, then I don't belong here either. A stunned silence fell. Ahsoka's eyes widened, her breath catching. Anakin, you can't... I can, he said, his voice resolute. He reached for his lightsaber, unclipping it from his belt, and placed it on the floor before the Council. I'm done. I'm leaving the Jedi Order, and I'm going with Ahsoka. The chamber erupted in murmurs. Yoda's ears drooped, his expression unreadable. Obi-Wan rose, his voice urgent. Anakin, this is madness! You are the chosen one, destined to bring balance. You cannot walk away. Balance? Anakin laughed bitterly. Look around, Obi-Wan. The galaxy is tearing itself apart, and the Jedi are too busy clinging to their rules to stop it. If this is balance, then I want no part of it. Ahsoka stepped to his side, her voice soft but firm. Anakin, you don't have to do this. The Republic needs you. Padme needs you. The mention of Padme Amidala, his secret wife, sent a pang through Anakin's heart. He hadn't told Ahsoka about their marriage, but her words cut deep. He thought of Padme's smile, her belief in him, her hope for a better future. Leaving the Jedi meant leaving the war, the Republic, and perhaps even her, but staying meant betraying Ahsoka and himself. "I've made my choice," Anakin said, meeting Ahsoka's gaze. "We are in this together, Snips." Ahsoka hesitated, then nodded, a flicker of gratitude in her eyes. Together they turned and walked out of the chamber, the weight of their decision settling like a shroud. The underlevels of Coruscant were a labyrinth of neon and shadow, a stark contrast to the pristine halls of the Jedi Temple. Anakin and Ahsoka moved swiftly through the crowded streets, their cloaks drawn tight to conceal their identities. The Republic's capital buzzed with life, but beneath the surface danger lurked. Bounty hunters, informants, and Separatist spies prowled the lower districts. They had left the temple with nothing but their skills and a handful of credits. Anakin's starfighter, the Azure Angel, remained in the temple hangar, and Ahsoka's lightsabers had been confiscated during her trial. For the first time in years, they were truly on their own. "Where do we go now?" Ahsoka asked, her voice barely audible over the hum of speeders and the chatter of vendors. Anakin scanned the alley ahead, his senses sharp. "We need a ship, supplies, and a way off this planet. The Jedi won't let us walk away so easily, and the Republic will brand us deserters." Ahsoka frowned. "You think they'll come after us?" "I know they will," Anakin said grimly. "Obi-Wan won't give up, and the Council will want to make an example of us. We're a liability now." They ducked into a dimly lit cantina, its air thick with smoke and the stench of cheap ale. Anakin's eyes darted to the patrons, smugglers, mercenaries, and a few unsavory types who eyed them with suspicion. He guided Ahsoka to a corner booth, keeping his back to the wall. "We need credits," Anakin said, lowering his voice. "I know a guy who owes me a favor. Dex from the diner. He's got connections in the underworld. If anyone can help us get a ship, it's him." Ahsoka raised an eyebrow. "Dex, the Basilisk cook? You sure about this?" "He's more than a cook," Anakin said with a wry smile. "Trust me." Their conversation was cut short by a commotion at the cantina's entrance. A squad of clone troopers led by Captain Rex stormed in, their blasters raised. Anakin's heart sank. Rex had been his friend, his brother in arms, but duty bound him to the Republic. "Anakin Skywalker! Ahsoka Tano!" Rex's voice boomed. "You're under arrest for desertion and treason against the Republic!" The cantina fell silent, all eyes on them. Anakin's hand twitched toward his belt, but he had no lightsaber. Ahsoka tensed, ready to fight, but Anakin placed a hand on her arm. "Not here," he whispered. "We can't take them all." Using the Force, Anakin subtly nudged a stack of crates near the entrance, sending them crashing down and blocking the clone's path. The distraction gave them a moment to slip the puppy through a side door, sprinting into the maze of alleys. "Rex won't stop!" Ahsoka panted as they ran. "He's loyal to the Republic." "I know," Anakin said, his voice heavy, "but he's also loyal to us. If we can talk to him, maybe—" "No," Ahsoka cut in. "We're fugitives now, Anakin. There's no going back." They reached a crowded marketplace, blending into the throng. Anakin's mind raced. Rex's presence meant the Jedi were already mobilizing. They had to move fast. Dex's diner was a beacon of warmth in the gritty underlevels, its retro charm a haven for those seeking a hot meal and discretion. Dex Jetster, the burly Basilisk, greeted Anakin with a hearty laugh, his forearms enveloping him in a bear hug. "Skywalker! Never thought I'd see you slumming it down here!" Dex's eyes narrowed as he noticed Ahsoka's tense expression. "Trouble, eh? What's the word?" Anakin explained their situation in hushed tones, omitting the details of their departure from the Jedi. Dex listened, stroking his chin, his expression growing serious. "You're in deep, kid," Dex said. "The Republic's got eyes everywhere, and word is, the Jedi are spitting mad, but you're in luck. I know a smuggler who can get you a ship, no questions asked. Problem is, it'll cost you." "How much?" Ahsoka asked. "More than you've got," Dex said bluntly. "But there's a job, a quick run to Nar Shaddaa. Deliver a crate of spice for a Hutt contact and the ship's yours." Anakin's jaw tightened. "We're not smugglers, Dex." "You're not Jedi anymore either," Dex countered. "You want out? This is the deal. Take it or leave it." Ahsoka and Anakin exchanged a glance. The Hutts were dangerous and spice running was a moral line they'd never crossed. But with the Republic closing in, They had little choice. "We'll take it," Anakin said finally. Dex grinned. "Smart move. Meet my contact at Docking Bay 94 at midnight. And Anakin, watch your back. The galaxy ain't kind to rogues." Docking Bay 94 was a hive of activity, its air thick with the smell of fuel and ion exhaust. The smuggler, a wiry human named Cade, greeted them with a smirk. His ship, a battered YT-1300 freighter called the Stellar Wraith, waiting in the shadows. "You two don't look like the usual scum," Cade said, eyeing Ahsoka's Montrals. "What's your story?" "No story," Anakin said curtly. "Just get us to Nar Shaddaa." Cade shrugged, tossing them the crate of spice. "Load it up, and don't get any ideas about sampling the goods. The Hutts don't take kindly to thieves." The journey to Nar Shaddaa was tense. Anakin piloted the Wraith, his skills honed from years of flying keeping the ship steady through hyperspace. Ahsoka sat in the co-pilot seat, her expression troubled. "This doesn't feel right," she said. "We're supposed to help people, not work for criminals." "I know," Anakin said, his voice low, "but we need to survive. Once we're clear, we'll figure out our next move together." Ahsoka nodded, but doubt lingered in her eyes. Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon, was a glittering cesspool of vice and violence. They landed in a Hutt-controlled spaceport, delivering the crate to a hulking enforcer named Gorba. The Twi'lek's eyes gleamed with greed as he inspected the spice. "Good work," Gorba said. "The ship's yours. But a word of advice, the Republic's got a bounty on your heads. You might want to lay low." Anakin's blood ran cold. A bounty already? The Jedi had moved faster than he'd expected. As they prepared to leave, the spaceport's alarms blared. A Republic gunship descended, clone troopers spilling out. Leading them was Obi-Wan Kenobi, his lightsaber ignited, his face a mask of determination. "Anakin!" Obi-Wan called, his voice carrying over the chaos. "This isn't the way! Come back with me! We can fix this!" Anakin's heart twisted. Obi-Wan had been his mentor, his brother, but the Jedi's path was no longer his. "I'm sorry, Obi-Wan," Anakin said, igniting the Wraith's engines, "but I'm done fixing your mistakes." The freighter roared into the sky, leaving Nar Shaddaa and Obi-Wan behind. Aboard the Stellar Wraith, Anakin and Ahsoka plotted their next move. The galaxy was vast, but nowhere was safe. The Republic would hunt them, the Separatists would exploit them, and the underworld would betray them. They needed a purpose, a reason to keep going. "We can't just run forever," Ahsoka said, her voice steady. "We're still Jedi at heart, Anakin. We can help people, protect those the Republic and the Separatists have abandoned." Anakin nodded, a spark of hope igniting in his chest. "You're right, Snips. We'll carve our own path. Not Jedi, not Sith, but something new. We'll fight for those who have no one else." Their first destination was Ryloth, a planet ravaged by the war. Reports had reached them of Twi'lek villages caught in the crossfire, abandoned by both sides. If they could make a difference there, it would be a start. As the Wraith jumped to hyperspace, Anakin thought of Padme. He hadn't contacted her since leaving the temple, unsure of how to explain his choice. Would she understand? Could she forgive him for abandoning the Republic she had fought so hard to save? For now, those questions would wait. Anakin and Ahsoka were fugitives, but they were free. And in that freedom they would forge a new destiny, one that could either save the galaxy or shatter it. The Stellar Wraith emerged from hyperspace above Ryloth, its dusty ochre surface marred by the scars of war. From orbit, Anakin Skywalker could see the telltale signs of conflict, smoldering craters, abandoned outposts, and the glint of Separatist droid armies marching across the plains. The Twi'lek homeworld was a battlefield, its people caught in a vice between invaders and neglectful allies. Anakin gripped the freighter's controls, his jaw tight. "This place looks worse than the Hollows. The Republic's supposed to be protecting Ryloth, but all I see is chaos." Ahsoka Tano, seated in the co-pilot's chair, scanned the sensor readouts. Her leku twitched, a sign of her unease. "The Republic's stretched thin, Anakin. And the Separatists don't care about collateral damage. The Twi'leks are on their own down there." "Not anymore," Anakin said, his voice resolute. "We're here now." Their plan was simple. Land near one of the hardest-hit villages, assess the situation, and provide aid. Reports smuggled through underworld channels spoke of a settlement called Kalaun, nestled in a canyon, under constant threat from Separatist raids. The villagers had no defenses, no hope, exactly the kind of people Anakin and Ahsoka had vowed to protect. As the Wraith descended through Ryloth's turbulent atmosphere, Ahsoka glanced at Anakin. "You sure about this? We're not exactly equipped for a full-scale relief mission. No lightsabers, no army, just us and a crate of medpacks." Anakin flashed a wry grin. "When have we ever needed an army, Snips? We've got the Force, and we've got each other. That's enough." Ahsoka rolled her eyes but couldn't hide her smile. "You're impossible." The freighter touched down in a rocky canyon a kilometer from Kalaun, its landing kicking up clouds of red dust. Anakin and Ahsoka donned cloaks to shield themselves from the planet's harsh sun, and loaded a repulsor cart with supplies, medpacks, rations, and a few blasters scavenged from the Wraith's smuggling compartments. They moved swiftly, aware that Separatist patrols could be nearby. The canyon was eerily quiet, the only sounds the whistle of wind and the distant rumble of artillery. Anakin's senses were on edge, the Force whispering warnings of danger. Ahsoka felt it too, her hand hovering near the blaster carrier at her hip. "Something's off," she murmured. "This place feels heavy." Anakin nodded, his eyes scanning the cliffs above. "Stay sharp. We're not alone." Kalaun was a cluster of domed huts carved into the canyon walls, its streets littered with debris from recent raids. The Twi'lek villagers, men, women, and children with vibrant skin tones of blue, green, and red, watched warily as Anakin and Ahsoka approached. Fear hung in the air, mingled with desperation. A Twi'lek elder, her lekku adorned with silver bands, stepped forward. Her name was Numerai, and her eyes carried the weight of too many losses. "Who are you?" she demanded. "Republic? Separatist? Or just scavengers come to pick at our bones?" "None of those," Anakin said, lowering his hood. "I'm Anakin. And this is Ahsoka. We're here to help." Numerai's gaze narrowed. "Help? The Republic promised help, and all we got were clones who left when the fighting got tough. Why should we trust you?" Ahsoka stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "Because we've got no stake in this war anymore. We're not here for glory or credits. We brought supplies, and we'll fight to protect you if you'll let us." The elder studied them, then gestured to the villagers. "Bring them to the communal hall. We'll hear them out." Inside the hall, a cavernous space lit by flickering glow lamps, the villagers gathered. Numerai explained their plight. Separatist droids, led by a ruthless commander named General Varkis, had been raiding Kalaun for weeks, demanding tribute in the form of real spice mined from nearby caves. Those who resisted were killed or enslaved. The Republic had sent a token force months ago, but they'd withdrawn, leaving the village defenseless. "We can't fight droids with vibroblades and hunting rifles," Numerai said. "And the Rill's running out. Soon Varkis will come for us all." Anakin's fists clenched. "Not if we stop him first. Ahsoka and I can train your people, set up defenses. We'll hit the droids before they hit you." A young Twi'lek, a wiry male named Talvren, scoffed. "You? Two outsiders with no weapons? What makes you think you can do what the Republic couldn't?" Ahsoka smirked, stepping into the center of the hall. "Watch closely." She extended her hand, and a nearby crate of supplies lifted into the air, floating smoothly to the other side of the room. The villagers gasped, murmuring about Jedi sorcery. "We're not Jedi," Anakin said, his voice carrying a hint of bitterness. "Not anymore. But we know how to fight, and we know droids. Give us a chance, and we'll prove it." Numerai hesitated, then nodded. "Very well, but know this. If you betray us, there's nowhere in the galaxy you'll be safe." Over the next 2 days, Anakin and Ahsoka worked tirelessly to prepare Kalaun for the inevitable Separatist attack. Anakin, drawing on his experience as a general, devised a plan to turn the canyon's terrain into a trap. He and Talvren scouted choke points, rigging explosives from scavenged droid parts, and teaching the villagers guerrilla tactics. Ahsoka, meanwhile, trained a small militia, focusing on hit-and-run strategies to counter the droids' numerical advantage. The villagers were quick learners, their desperation fueling their resolve. Numerai's granddaughter, a spirited girl named Lyra, took a particular shine to Ahsoka, shadowing her every move. "You're not like the other warriors," Lyra said one evening, watching Ahsoka adjust a blaster's sights. "You care." Ahsoka smiled, but her heart ached. She thought of her own childhood, of the Jedi who had taken her from Shilly, promising a life of purpose. That purpose felt distant now, replaced by a new, uncertain path. "We're trying to make things right, Lyra, that's all." Anakin, meanwhile, wrestled with his own demons. At night, when the village slept, he sat alone in the Wraith's cockpit, staring at a hollow of Padme Amidala. He hadn't contacted her since leaving Coruscant, afraid of what she'd say. Would she see him as a traitor? A failure? The thought gnawed at him, but he pushed it aside. Calhoun needed him now, and so did Ahsoka. On the third day, their preparations were tested. A scout reported a Separatist patrol, 24 B-1 battle droids and a pair of droidecas, marching toward the village. General Varkis himself was with them, a hulking Dotan with a cybernetic arm and a penchant for cruelty. Anakin gathered the villagers. "This is it. We hit them hard and make them think twice about coming back. Ahsoka and I will take the lead. Talvrin, you and your team handle the explosives. Numarai, keep the non-combatants safe." The elder nodded, her expression grim. "May the winds of Ryloth guide you." The canyon was a maze of shadows as Anakin and Ahsoka led the militia into position. They crouched behind rocky outcrops, the droids' clanking footsteps echoing closer. Anakin's heart pounded, not from fear but from the thrill of battle. Without his lightsaber he felt exposed, but the Force was still with him, a steady pulse in his veins. Ahsoka, armed with a scavenge blaster, met his gaze. "Just like old times, huh?" Anakin chuckled. "Except we're the underdogs now. Ready, Snips?" "Always, Sky Guy." The droids rounded a bend, their red optics glowing in the dusk. Varkis strode at their rear, his massive frame dwarfing the B-1s. Anakin gave the signal, and Talvrin's team detonated the first set of explosives. Boulders crashed down, crushing half a dozen droids and blocking the patrol's retreat. "No!" Anakin shouted, leaping from cover. He extended his hand, using the Force to hurl the droideka into the canyon wall, its shield sparking as it shattered. Ahsoka fired precise shots, disabling B-1s with surgical accuracy. The militia followed, their blasters and vibroblades cutting through the confused droids. Varkis roared, drawing a massive vibro-axe. "You dare challenge me?" he charged, his cybernetic arm smashing a militiaman into the ground. Anakin dove in, tackling Varkis with a Force-enhanced leap. The two grappled, Varkis' strength nearly overwhelming Anakin's agility. Ahsoka, meanwhile, faced the second droideka. Its shields deflected her blaster bolts, but she rolled beneath it, planting a thermal detonator on its undercarriage. The explosion lit up the canyon, sending shrapnel flying. The battle was over in minutes. The droids lay in pieces, and Varkis, battered but alive, knelt before Anakin, his axe broken. "You'll pay for this," the Diotin snarled. "The Separatists will burn this village to ash." Anakin's eyes darkened, his hand twitching as if to crush Varkis' throat with the Force. Ahsoka grabbed his arm, her voice urgent. "Anakin, don't! He's beaten! Let the villagers decide his fate!" Anakin hesitated, the darkness receding. He stepped back, nodding to Numare, who had emerged from hiding. "He's yours." The elder's eyes were cold. "Take him to the caves. He'll answer for his crimes." The victory was bittersweet. 3 militiamen had died, and several others were wounded. The villagers mourned, but they also celebrated, their hope rekindled. Numerai thanked Anakin and Ahsoka, offering them a place in Calhoun. "You've given us a chance," she said. "Stay, and we'll fight together." Anakin shook his head. "We can't. The Separatists will send more forces, and the Republic's still hunting us. We'll draw trouble if we stay." Ahsoka nodded, though her heart ached to leave Lyra and the others. "We'll make sure you're ready before we go. More traps and more training. You'll hold your own." As they worked to fortify the village, a new threat emerged. A Republic gunship landed near Calhoun, its markings identifying it as part of the 212th Attack Battalion. Leading the clones was Obi-Wan Kenobi, his expression a mix of relief and resolve. Anakin and Ahsoka met him at the canyon's edge, the villagers watching from a distance. Obi-Wan's eyes softened as he saw them, but his voice was firm. "Anakin, Ahsoka, you've done good here. But you can't keep running. The Jedi need you. The Republic needs you." "The Republic abandoned these people," Anakin snapped. "Where were you when Varkis was slaughtering them?" Obi-Wan sighed. "The war is bigger than one village, Anakin. We're fighting to save the galaxy." "And we're fighting to save the people in it," Ahsoka said. "The Jedi lost sight of that. We haven't." Obi-Wan's gaze lingered on Anakin, a flicker of pain in his eyes. Anakin, you're walking a dangerous path. The dark side is closer than you think. Anakin's fists clenched, but he held his temper. I'm not your enemy, Obi-Wan, but I'm not your soldier anymore either. Let us go. Obi-Wan hesitated, then signaled his clones to stand down. I won't force you, not today, but this isn't over. He turned to leave, pausing to add, Padme asked me to tell you she's safe. She misses you, Anakin. The mention of Padme hit Anakin like a blaster bolt. He nodded, unable to speak as Obi-Wan boarded the gunship and departed. That night, Anakin and Ahsoka sat atop a cliff overlooking Kalaun, the stars bright above Ryloth's deserts. The village was stronger now, its people united. But the war was far from over, and their own path was uncertain. Obi-Wan's right about one thing, Ahsoka said. The dark side is out there, and it's watching us. We have to be careful. Anakin stared at the horizon, his thoughts on Padme, on the Jedi, on the anger that still simmered in his heart. I won't let it take me, Ahsoka, but I won't let fear control me either. We're free now. We choose our own way. Ahsoka nodded, her voice soft. Then let's keep choosing to help people like the Twi'leks. There are others out there forgotten by the war. We can find them. Anakin smiled, and the weight of his choices lighter in her presence. Deal, Snips. Where to next? Ahsoka pulled out a data chip, a gift from Talvarin. There's a planet called Felucia. Farmers there are being squeezed by both sides. Sounds like our kind of fight. The Stellar Wraith roared to life, its engines carrying Anakin and Ahsoka toward their next battle. They were no longer Jedi, but they were warriors of a new kind, guardians of the forgotten, rebels against a galaxy in chains. Their destiny was unwritten, but one thing was certain. Together they would face whatever came next. The Stellar Wraith broke through Felucia's vibrant atmosphere, its hull reflecting the planet's kaleidoscope of colors, emerald greens, fiery oranges, and pulsating purples. From the cockpit, Anakin Skywalker marveled at the alien beauty below, a jungle world teeming with life yet scarred by conflict. Massive fungi towered like skyscrapers, their bioluminescent spores drifting in the humid air, while rivers of sapphire wound through dense undergrowth. This place is incredible, Ahsoka Tano said, her eyes wide as she leaned forward in the co-pilot seat. But it's also a nightmare to navigate. Sensors are picking up interference from the flora. Landing's going to be tricky. Anakin grinned, his hands steady on the controls. Tricky's my specialty, Snips. Hold on. The freighter dipped low, weaving between colossal mushrooms and dodging tendrils that snapped like living whips. Anakin's piloting skills, honed by years of war and reckless improvisation, guided them to a clearing near a cluster of makeshift settlements. The Felucian farmers, a hardy species with amphibian-like features and deep ties to their land, had sent a desperate plea through underworld channels. Their villages were being extorted by a Separatist warlord, and the Republic had abandoned them to focus on strategic fronts. As the Wraith touched down, Anakin and Ahsoka stepped into the muggy air, their boots sinking into the spongy ground. The jungle hummed with life, chirps, growls, and the distant roars of unseen beasts. Ahsoka's Leku twitched, her senses alert. This place feels alive, she said, but there's something else. A shadow in the Force. Anakin nodded, his own instincts prickling. We're not alone, stay sharp. They loaded a repulsor cart with supplies, medpacks, tools, and a few explosives scavenged from their Ryloth mission, and trekked toward the nearest village, guided by coordinates from Talvarin's data chip. The jungle seemed to watch them, its vibrant colors masking unseen dangers. The Felucian village, called Salavun, was a collection of dome-like huts woven from vines and fungal fibers, perched on stilts above a swampy basin. The farmers, their skin shimmering with iridescent hues, greeted Anakin and Ahsoka with wary curiosity. Their leader, a grizzled elder named Queval, spoke in a guttural tongue, translated by a battered protocol droid. You come at a dark time, Queval said, his bulbous eyes narrowing. The metal men, droids, demand our crops, our nice Cylon, our lives. Their leader Zorath takes everything. The Republic promised aid, but their ships never returned. Anakin's jaw tightened. Nicillin, a rare healing herb, was vital to the Felucians' economy and a prize for both sides of the war. We're not Republic, he said. We're here to help you fight back. Tell us about Zorath. Quaval's voice dropped to a hiss. Zorath is no ordinary warlord. He is a sorcerer, cloaked in shadow, wielding a blade of fire. He commands droids and beasts alike, bending them to his will. His stronghold lies deep in the jungle, guarded by machines and monsters. Ahsoka exchanged a glance with Anakin. "Sounds like a Sith," she whispered. "Or someone trained in the dark side." Anakin's hand twitched, longing for the weight of his lightsaber. If he's Force-sensitive, we'll need to be careful. But we've faced worse. The villagers shared what little they had, a meal of fungal broth and Nycillan tea, and outlined their situation. Zorath's raids had left Sullivan on the brink of starvation, with children falling ill and warriors too weak to resist. The warlord's next tribute was due in 3 days, and he'd threatened to burn the village if they failed to comply. "We can't let that happen," Ahsoka said, addressing the gathered farmers. "We'll train you, fortify your defenses, and hit Zorath's forces before they reach you. You're not alone anymore." Quaval studied them, then nodded. "We will fight, but beware. The jungle is Zorath's ally. It hides his secrets." Anakin and Ahsoka spent the next 2 days transforming Salavun into a fortress. Anakin, drawing on his tactical experience, worked with Quaval's warriors to create traps, pitfalls lined with sharpened vines, tripwires rigged to drop fungal spores that could disorient droids, and choke points to funnel enemies into kill zones. Ahsoka trained the farmers in guerrilla tactics, teaching them to use their knowledge of the jungle to outmaneuver Zorath's forces. The Felucians were resilient, their bond with the land giving them an edge. A young farmer named Tira, whose agility rivaled Ahsoka's, became her shadow, eager to prove herself. "You move like the wind," Tira said, mimicking Ahsoka's stance. "Are you a spirit of the jungle?" Ahsoka laughed, adjusting Tira's grip on a spear. "Just a Togruta with a few tricks. Stick with me, and I'll teach you some." Anakin, meanwhile, wrestled with his own doubts. The jungle's oppressive energy stirred memories of his past. His anger at the Jedi, his fear of losing Padmé, the seductive pull of power. At night he sat alone, staring at Padmé's hollow, his heart heavy. Obi-Wan's words on Ryloth echoed in his mind. The dark side is closer than you think. He hadn't contacted Padmé, unsure if she'd understand his choices. The war, the Jedi, the Republic, it all felt like a noose tightening around him. On the second night, Ahsoka found him in the Wraith's cargo hold, tinkering with a makeshift weapon, a vibroblade fused with droid parts. "You okay?" she asked, her voice soft. Anakin sighed, setting the blade down. "This place. It's getting to me. The Force feels different here, heavier, and I keep thinking about Padmé. What if she thinks I've abandoned her?" Ahsoka sat beside him, her expression thoughtful. "You haven't abandoned her, Anakin. You're fighting for something real, something the Jedi forgot. Padmé would understand that. You should reach out to her." Anakin shook his head. "Not yet. Not until we're safe. She's a senator. She's got enough to worry about without me dragging her into this." Ahsoka frowned but didn't press. "Just don't shut her out forever. You need her, and she needs you." Their conversation was cut short by a piercing cry from the village. Anakin and Ahsoka sprinted outside, finding Tira clutching a wounded scout. The Felucian gasped, his words frantic. "Zorath! He's coming! Now!" Zorath's forces struck at dawn, a wave of B-2 super battle droids and commando droids emerging from the jungle's mists. Leading them was Zorath himself, a towering figure cloaked in black, his face hidden behind a metallic mask. In his hand, a red lightsaber hummed, its glow casting eerie shadows. Behind him lumbered a rancor, its hide scarred and eyes glowing with unnatural malice, as if bound by the dark side. Anakin and Ahsoka rallied the villagers, their makeshift defenses springing to life. Tripwires triggered spore clouds, blinding droids, while pitfalls swallowed entire squads. The Felucians fought with ferocity, their spears and blasters felling droids in coordinated strikes. Anakin, armed with his vibroblade, dove into the fray, using the Force to enhance his speed and strength. He dismantled a B-2 droid with a single strike, then hurled its wreckage into a commando droid's path. Ahsoka, wielding dual blasters, moved like a whirlwind, her shots precise and deadly. Tira and the militia followed her lead, their courage bolstered by her presence. But Zorath was a force of nature. His lightsaber carved through the traps and warriors alike, his movements fluid and relentless. The rancor roared, smashing huts and scattering defenders. Anakin locked eyes with Zorath, sensing the dark side's pull, a cold, seductive power that both repelled and intrigued him. "You're no Jedi!" Zorath's voice rasped through his mask. "Yet the Force is strong with you. Join me, and we'll crush this pathetic resistance." Anakin's grip tightened on his blade. "I don't take orders from Sith wannabes." Zorath laughed, lunging with his lightsaber. Anakin parried with the vibroblade, the Force guiding his movements, but the weapon was no match for a lightsaber's plasma. The blade sparked and buckled, forcing Anakin to dodge and weave, using the jungle's terrain to his advantage. Ahsoka, meanwhile, faced the Rancor. She leaped onto a fungal stalk, drawing its attention, then used the Force to topple a massive mushroom onto its back. The beast roared, momentarily pinned, giving Tira's team a chance to attack its flanks. The battle raged, the village a chaotic swirl of blaster fire, spore clouds, and the Rancor's bellows. Anakin and Zorath clashed in a deadly dance, their duel spilling into a grove of glowing fungi. Zorath's strength was immense, but Anakin's ingenuity kept him alive, hurling spores into Zorath's mask, tripping him with vines, and striking with Force-enhanced blows. "You're strong," Zorath taunted, "but you're holding back. Embrace your anger, and you could be unstoppable." Anakin's blood ran hot, the dark side's whisper loud in his ears. He thought of the Jedi's betrayal, of Padme's distance, of the galaxy's endless suffering. For a moment he wanted to let go, to unleash his rage. But Ahsoka's voice cut through the haze, shouting his name from across the battlefield. "Anakin, we need you!" He snapped back, shoving Zorath away with a Force push. "I'm not like you," he growled. "I choose my own path." Zorath sneered, raising his lightsaber for another strike, but a Felucian spear pierced his shoulder, thrown by Queval. The warlord staggered, and Anakin seized the moment, tackling him into a pitfall trap. Zorath fell, his lightsaber extinguished, his body vanishing into the swamp below. The Rancor, freed from its master's control, fled into the jungle, and the remaining droids faltered, their programming disrupted. The villagers pressed their advantage, wiping out the last of Zorath's forces. Sullivan was battered, but standing. The villagers mourned their dead, 7 warriors and 2 children, but celebrated their survival. Queval embraced Anakin and Ahsoka, his voice thick with gratitude. "You've given us hope, outsiders. The jungle will sing of your deeds." Tira hugged Ahsoka, tears in her eyes. "Will you stay?" Ahsoka smiled, brushing a hand over Tira's head. "We can't. There are others who need us, but you're strong, Tira. Keep fighting." Anakin, nursing a bruised arm, felt the weight of the battle settle over him. Zorath's words lingered, a reminder of the darkness he'd felt. He glanced at Ahsoka, her steady presence grounding him. "You saved me back there," he said quietly. "I know," Ahsoka said, her voice firm but kind. "But you didn't." "You're not alone, Anakin. We're in this together." Before they could leave, a new complication arose. A Republic scout ship landed near the village. Its pilot a clone trooper named Fives, part of the 501st Legion. Fives approached cautiously, his helmet under his arm. "General Skywalker, Commander Tano," he said, his tone respectful but strained. "I'm not here to arrest you. Captain Rex sent me. He's been tracking you since Ryloth." Anakin's heart sank. "What does Rex want?" "He wants to talk," Fives said. "He's on a neutral platform in the Outer Rim, waiting for you. He says it's about the clones, and something bigger. He wouldn't say more, but he's risking his neck to reach you." Ahsoka frowned. "It could be a trap." "Maybe," Anakin said, "but Rex is family. If he's in trouble, we owe him a chance to explain." Fives handed them a data chip with coordinates. "He's alone, no Jedi, no Republic brass, just him. You have my word." As Fives departed, Anakin and Ahsoka weighed their options. The Republic's pursuit hadn't slowed, and Zorath's defeat would draw attention. Meeting Rex was a risk, but ignoring him could mean missing a crucial ally, or a warning. Back aboard the Stellar Wraith, Anakin and Ahsoka plotted a course for the Outer Rim platform. The jungle's oppressive energy faded as they left Felucia behind, but new questions loomed. What did Rex know? Was he still loyal to the Republic, or had his faith wavered like theirs? Anakin sat in the cockpit, staring at Padme's holo. Ahsoka's words echoed, You need her, and she needs you. He activated the comm, recording a brief message. Padme, it's me. I'm safe, but I can't come back yet. I'm fighting for something I believe in with Ahsoka. I hope you understand. I love you. He sent it, his heart lighter but still heavy with uncertainty. Ahsoka joined him, her expression thoughtful. Felucia was a win, but it's just the beginning. The galaxy's full of places like Salavun, people the war's forgotten. Anakin nodded, a spark of determination in his eyes. Then we'll find them. One village, one planet at a time. But first, we deal with Rex. As the Wraith jumped to hyperspace, the stars blurred into streaks of light. Anakin and Ahsoka were no longer Jedi, but they were warriors of conviction, bound by loyalty and a shared vision. The meeting with Rex would test that vision, forcing them to confront their past and the galaxy's unraveling future. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, their destiny a fragile thread in the Force's vast tapestry. The Stellar Wraith dropped out of hyperspace near a derelict space platform in the outer rim, its rusted hull orbiting a nameless gas giant. The station, a relic of pre-Republic trade routes, was a gray zone, beyond the reach of both Republic and Separatist patrols, a haven for smugglers and those seeking anonymity. For Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano, it was a gamble, a place where trust could be a luxury they couldn't afford. Anakin guided the freighter into a docking bay, his hands steady but his mind racing. Captain Rex's message, delivered by Fives on Felucia, had been cryptic, a plea to meet, alone, with hints of a conspiracy involving the clones. Rex was family, a brother forged in battle, but the Republic's shadow loomed large. Was this a trap, or a chance to reconnect with an ally? Ahsoka, scanning the platform's schematics, broke the silence. Sensors show minimal power signatures, no weapons active. Looks abandoned, but I don't trust it. Rex better have a good reason for dragging us out here. Anakin nodded, his eyes fixed on the docking bay's flickering lights. He does, or he wouldn't risk it. Rex isn't one for games. But if this goes south, we're ready. They arm themselves with scavenge blasters and vibroblades, their lack of lightsabers a constant reminder of their break from the Jedi. The Force was their greatest weapon now, a tool they wielded with precision but caution. Aware of the dark side's seductive pull, the docking bay was a cavernous ruin, littered with debris and the husks of ancient freighters. A single figure stood at its center, his white and blue armor unmistakable even in the dim light. Captain Rex, helmet tucked under his arm, raised a hand in greeting, his expression a mix of relief and tension. "General Skywalker, Commander Tano," Rex said, his voice steady but heavy. "Thanks for coming. I know it wasn't easy." Anakin stepped forward, his posture relaxed but alert. "You're lucky we trust you, Rex. What's this about? Fives said you're risking your neck." Rex's jaw tightened. "I am. Let's move somewhere secure. This place isn't as empty as it looks." He led them to a cramped control room, its consoles long dead. After sweeping for listening devices, Rex sealed the door and faced them, his eyes haunted. "I've got intel. Dangerous intel. It's about the clones, the war, maybe the whole damn Republic. But before I spill, I need to know, are you with us, or are you just running?" Ahsoka bristled. "We're not running, Rex. We're fighting for people the Republic's forgotten. You know that." Rex nodded, but his gaze lingered on Anakin. "And you, General?" "You walked away from everything. Jedi, Republic, even the 5-0 first. I need to know where you stand." Anakin's chest tightened. Rex's loyalty had never wavered, even when Anakin's had. "I stand with Ahsoka, with the people who need us. The Jedi betrayed us, Rex, but I haven't forgotten the men I fought with. You're still my brother." Rex exhaled, a flicker of relief in his eyes. "Good, because what I'm about to tell you could get us all killed." Rex's story began with a name, Order 66. He'd overheard whispers among high-ranking officers, cryptic references to a contingency protocol buried deep in the clones' conditioning. It wasn't public knowledge, not even among the Jedi generals, but Rex's instincts, honed by years of questioning and blind obedience, told him it was more than a bureaucratic footnote. "I started digging," Rex said, his voice low. "Got Fives and a few others to help, off the books. We found something in the Kaminoan archives, a biochip implanted in every clone's brain. It's not just for identification or medical data, it's a control mechanism. If Order 66 is activated, we turn on the Jedi. No hesitation, no choice. Ahsoka's eyes widened, her leku stiffening. Turn on the Jedi? You mean kill them? Rex nodded grimly. That's what the chip does. Overrides our free will, makes us follow the Order without question. I don't know who'd give it. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, maybe. But it's real. Five's nearly got himself executed for digging too deep. He's in hiding now, trying to crack the chip's code. Anakin's blood ran cold. The Jedi had their flaws, but the idea of the clones, men he'd fought beside, bled for, being programmed to betray them was unthinkable. His mind flashed to Obi-Wan and to Padme, to the Republic he'd once sworn to protect. Why tell us? He asked. We're not Jedi anymore. We can't stop this. You're not Jedi, but you're not nobody, Rex countered. You've got influence, skills, and a ship. More importantly, you're free. The Jedi are too deep in the war to see the trap, but you too. You can move in the shadows, find proof, maybe even sabotage the chips. Ahsoka frowned, pacing the room. This is bigger than us, Rex. If Palpatine's behind it, we're talking about the head of the Republic. And if the Separatists get wind of this, they will exploit it. We need more than whispers. We need evidence. I've got coordinates, Rex said, producing a data chip. A Kaminoan scientist, Nala Se, keeps records of the chip program. She's on a secure facility in the Outer Rim, codenamed Waypoint. Get to her and you'll find what you need. But it won't be easy. Kamino's locked down tight and the Republic's watching. Anakin took the chip, his mind racing. This was a chance to strike at the heart of the war's corruption, to protect the clones, and maybe even the Jedi. But it meant diving deeper into a galaxy that wanted them dead or captured. What about you? He asked Rex. You're sticking your neck out. What's your play? I'm going back to the 501st, Rex said. I'll keep my ear to the ground, feed you intel when I can, but I can't leave my brothers. Not yet. Ahsoka placed a hand on Rex's shoulder, her voice soft. You're risking everything, Rex. Thank you. Rex managed a small smile. You taught me to question orders, Commander. I'm just following your lead. Their meeting was cut short by a sudden tremor through the station. Alarms blared and the control room's lights flickered. Anakin's senses sharpened, and the Force warning of danger. We've got company, he said, drawing his blaster. Rex checked his comm. It's not me. My ship's clean. Someone must have followed you. Ahsoka cursed under her breath. The Republic's been on our tail since Coruscant. Or maybe it's bounty hunters. Our heads are worth a fortune now. They sprinted to the docking bay, where the Stellar Wraith waited. But the bay was no longer empty. A squad of bounty hunters, led by a Mandalorian in sleek Beskar armor, had landed, their ship blocking the Wraith's exit. The leader, a woman with a cold voice amplified by her helmet, stepped forward. Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, she called. The Republic's paying top credits for your capture. Surrender, and you keep your limbs. Anakin smirked, his bravado masking his unease. You're not the first to try, and you won't be the last. Step aside, or we'll make this messy. The Mandalorian, identified by her armor's sigil as Vexicor, tilted her head. I was hoping you'd say that. The fight erupted in a blaze of blaster fire. Vex's team, 6 hunters armed with rifles, jetpacks, and vibroblades, fanned out, using the bay's debris for cover. Anakin, Ahsoka, and Rex moved as a unit, their years of battlefield synergy guiding them. Anakin used the Force to deflect bolts, hurling crates at the hunters, while Ahsoka's agility let her close the distance, disarming a hunter with a precise vibroblade strike. Rex, ever the soldier, laid down suppressing fire, his dual blasters a deadly rhythm. Vexa was the real threat. Her Beskar deflected Ahsoka's attacks, and her wrist-mounted flamethrower forced Anakin to dive for cover. You're good, Vexa taunted, launching a whipcord that snared Anakin's arm. But not good enough. Anakin snarled, using the Force Dace to snap the cord and pull Vexa off balance. He tackled her, pinning her to the ground, but she activated her jetpack, sending them both crashing into a stack of fuel canisters. The explosion rocked the bay, giving Ahsoka and Rex a chance to neutralize the remaining hunters. Anakin, we need to go! Ahsoka shouted, dragging a wounded hunter to the Wraith's ramp. Anakin disentangled himself from Vexa, who retreated to her ship, cursing. This isn't over, Skywalker! She yelled as her vessel powered up. The Wraith roared to life, Anakin and Ahsoka piling into the cockpit while Rex covered their escape. The platform's defenses, triggered by the explosion, fired wildly, but Anakin's piloting skills threaded them through the chaos. As they jumped to hyperspace, Rex slumped into his seat, nursing a blaster burn on his arm. "That was too close," he said. "Vexa Corps one of the best. She'll be back." Anakin nodded, his expression grim. "Let her come. We've got bigger problems." Aboard the Stellar Wraith, Anakin and Ahsoka debriefed with Rex, plotting their next move. The coordinates to Waypoint were their best lead, but infiltrating a Kaminoan facility would require stealth, resources, and allies they didn't have. Rex agreed to rendezvous with them later, after reporting back to the 501st to maintain his cover. Before parting, Rex handed Anakin a secure comm frequency. "Use this to reach me. It's encrypted, but don't linger on it. The Republic's got ears everywhere." Anakin clasped Rex's forearm, a gesture of brotherhood. "Stay safe, Rex. We'll get to the bottom of this." Rex nodded, his eyes steady. "You too, General Commander." He boarded his shuttle, disappearing into the void. Alone in the cockpit, Anakin and Ahsoka sat in silence, the weight of Rex's revelation settling over them. The clones, men they'd trusted with their lives, were ticking time bombs. The Republic which Padme had dedicated her life to might be rotten at its core, and the Jedi, flawed as they were, faced a betrayal they couldn't see coming. "This changes everything," Ahsoka said, her voice quiet. "If Order 66 is real, we can't just keep helping villages. We have to stop this." Anakin stared at the data chip, his mind a storm of anger and resolve. "We will, but we need to be smart. Waypoint's a fortress, and we're fugitives. We'll need help, someone who knows Kamino, someone we can trust." Ahsoka's eyes lit up. "What about Padme? She's got connections, resources. She could get us intel on Kaminoan security, maybe even a way in." Anakin's heart skipped at the mention of Padme. He'd sent her a message from Felucia, but she hadn't responded. The thought of facing her, of explaining his choices, filled him with both longing and dread. "Padme's a senator," he said. "Involving her could put her in danger. I won't risk that." "She's already in danger," Ahsoka countered. "The war's tearing the Republic apart, and if Palpatine's behind this, she's on the front lines. You can't protect her by shutting her out, Anakin." He knew she was right, but the fear of losing Padme, of her rejecting him, gnawed at him. "I'll think about it," he said, his tone final. Ahsoka sighed but didn't push. "Fine, but we need a plan for Waypoint, and we need to stay ahead of Vexa and the Republic." The Stellar Wraith set course for a shadow port in the mid-rim, a smuggler's haven where they could resupply and gather intel on Waypoint. As they traveled, Anakin wrestled with his emotions. Rex's warning had shaken him, stirring the anger he'd buried since leaving the Jedi. The Republic's betrayal, the Jedi's blindness, the clones' hidden chains, it all fed a darkness he struggled to suppress. Ahsoka noticed his mood, her presence a steady anchor. One night, as they shared a meal of ration bars, she spoke up. "You're carrying too much, Anakin. Talk to me." He hesitated, then let the words spill. "I keep thinking about the Jedi, about how they failed us. And now the Republic might be worse. I want to fix it, Ahsoka, but every step we take feels like we're walking toward a cliff. And I don't know if I'm strong enough to keep the darkness at bay." Ahsoka's eyes softened. "You are strong, Anakin, stronger than you know. The dark side's always there, whispering, but you've chosen to fight for something better. That's what keeps you grounded. That and the people who care about you, me, Rex, Padme." Her words eased the storm in his chest, if only a little. "Thanks, Snips. I don't know what I'd do without you." She smirked. "Probably crash the ship. Now get some rest. We've got a long road ahead." Their respite was short-lived. As they approached the shadow port, a transmission broke through the Wraith's comms, encrypted, but bearing a familiar signature. Anakin's breath caught as he opened the channel, and Padme's voice filled the cockpit. "Anakin, it's me," she said, her tone urgent but warm. "I got your message. I'm safe, but we need to talk. I'm on Naboo in hiding. There's something you need to know. About the Senate, the Chancellor, and the war. Meet me at the Lake Country Estate. Please, be careful." The transmission ended, leaving Anakin stunned. Ahsoka raised an eyebrow. "Looks like you're getting that reunion sooner than you thought." Anakin's heart raced, a mix of relief and fear. Padme was safe, but her words hinted at dangers that aligned with Rex's warning. Naboo was a risk, a Republic world under scrutiny, but he couldn't ignore her call. "Set course for Naboo," he said, his voice firm. "We're going to see Padme." The Stellar Wraith jumped to hyperspace, its destination the verdant world of Naboo. Anakin and Ahsoka prepared for the mission ahead, aware that Padme's involvement would complicate their already precarious situation. The Republic's pursuit, Vexacor's bounty, and the looming threat of Order 66 hung over them like a storm cloud. Anakin worked in the cargo hold, modifying their weapons and reinforcing the Wraith's shields. Ahsoka, meanwhile, studied the waypoint coordinates, cross-referencing them with smuggler routes to plan their infiltration. They were a team, their bond forged in battle and tempered by shared ideals, but the galaxy's weight tested even their resilience. As they neared Naboo, Anakin stood in the cockpit, staring at the stars. Padme's voice echoed in his mind, a beacon in the chaos. He thought of their secret marriage, of stolen moments in her Coruscant apartment, of a future they'd dreamed of beyond the war. Could that future still exist, or had his choices burned it away? Ahsoka joined him, her presence a reminder of their shared purpose. "Whatever happens on Naboo," she said, "we face it together. You're not alone, Anakin." He nodded, a faint smile breaking through his turmoil. "I know, Snips. Let's do this." The Stellar Wraith descended toward Naboo's emerald surface, its Lake Country estate a hidden refuge where Padme waited. The meeting with Rex had set them on a dangerous path, one that could unravel the Republic's secrets, or destroy them. As they prepared to face Padme and the truths she carried, Anakin and Ahsoka steeled themselves for a reckoning that would test their loyalty, their resolve, and the fragile hope they carried in a galaxy at war. The Stellar Wraith glided through Naboo's atmosphere, its sleek silhouette cutting through wisps of cloud over the planet's emerald plains and shimmering lakes. The Lake Country, a region of rolling hills and secluded estates, glowed in the twilight, its beauty a stark contrast to the galaxy's turmoil. Anakin Skywalker, at the helm, felt a pang of longing as the familiar landscape unfolded below. This was Padme's sanctuary, the place where their love had taken root, where they dared to dream of a life beyond duty. Ahsoka Tano, in the co-pilot seat, sensed his shift in mood. "You okay, Anakin? You've been quiet since we got Padme's message." Anakin's grip tightened on the controls, his jaw set. "Just a lot to process. Padme's in danger if she's digging into the same mess Rex told us about. I don't know if I can protect her from this." Ahsoka's leku twitched, her expression softening. "You don't have to protect her alone. Padme's strong. She's been fighting her own battles longer than we have. Trust her, like you trust me." Anakin managed a faint smile. "When did you get so wise, Snips?" "Learn from the best," she quipped, nudging his shoulder. "Now focus. We're landing in a Republic-controlled system. If anyone's watching, we're walking into a trap." The Wraith touched down in a secluded meadow near the Vericano estate, its engines cloaked by a jury-rigged stealth module. The villa, with its domed roofs and vine-draped terraces, stood serene against the lake's mirror-like surface. Anakin and Ahsoka disembarked, their cloaks drawn tight, blasters and vibroblades at the ready. The Force hummed around them, calm yet laced with an undercurrent of unease. As they approached the villa, a figure emerged from the shadows of the veranda. Padme Amidala, her elegant robes replaced by a practical tunic, her dark eyes bright with relief and worry. "Anakin," she breathed, rushing to him. He caught her in his arms, the world falling away for a moment. "Padme," he murmured, his voice thick. "I'm here." Ahsoka hung back, a small smile tugging at her lips. She'd suspected Anakin's feelings for Padme, but had never pried. Seeing them now, she felt a mix of warmth and concern. Their bond was a strength, but in a galaxy hunting them, it was also a vulnerability. Padme stepped back, her gaze shifting to Ahsoka. "Ahsoka, it's good to see you. Thank you for keeping him safe." Ahsoka chuckled. "It's a full-time job, Senator, but you're not so bad at it yourself." Padme's smile was fleeting, her expression turning serious. "Come inside. We don't have much time. There's something you need to know." The villa's interior was a haven of soft, light, and flowing fabrics, but the air was heavy with tension. Padme led them to a secure chamber, its walls lined with hollow projectors and encrypted databanks. She activated a privacy field. ensuring their conversation would be shielded from prying ears. "I've been investigating the Senate," Padme began, her voice steady but urgent. "There's corruption at the highest levels, deeper than I ever imagined. It's not just war profiteering or Separatist sympathizers. Someone is manipulating the entire conflict, prolonging it for their own gain." Anakin's brow furrowed. "Who? The Chancellor?" Padme hesitated, her eyes searching his. "I don't have proof, not yet, but Palpatine's consolidating power faster than anyone realizes. Emergency decrees, expanded military budgets, surveillance programs, they're all eroding the Republic's foundation. And there's something else. Whispers of a shadow figure, someone pulling strings behind both the Republic and the Separatists." Ahsoka's leku stiffened. "That lines up with what Rex told us. He found evidence of a clone control protocol. Order 66. It's designed to make the clones turn on the Jedi, and it might come from the top." Padme's eyes widened, her hand gripping the table. "The clones? That's monstrous. If Palpatine's involved, he's betraying everyone, the Jedi, the Senate, the people." Anakin's anger flared, his fists clenching. "If Palpatine's behind this, he's been playing us all. Me, the Jedi, the entire galaxy. I trusted him." Padme reached for his hand, her touch grounding him. "We all did, Anakin. He's a master at hiding his true face, but we can stop him. I've been working with a group of senators, Bail, Organa, Mon Mothma, others. We're gathering evidence to expose the corruption, but it's dangerous. My sources in the Senate are being silenced, and I've had to go into hiding." Ahsoka leaned forward, her mind racing. "Rex gave us coordinates to a Kaminoan facility, Waypoint. A scientist there, Nalase, has records of the clone biochips. If we can get those, we'll have proof of Order 66, and maybe a link to Palpatine." Padme nodded, her resolve hardening. "I can help. I have contacts in the Mid-Rim who can get you fake IDs and clearance codes for Kamino in space, but you'll need to move fast. The Republic's tightening its grip, and there's a bounty hunter, Mandalorian, female, who's been tracking you." Anakin's jaw tightened. "Vexa Core! She hit us at the platform. She's good, but we handled her." "For now," Padme said, "but she's not working alone. Someone's funding her, someone with deep pockets. Be careful." The weight of their mission settled over them. Anakin looked at Padme, his heart torn. "I don't want you in this fight, Padme. It's too dangerous. If Palpatine finds out you're involved—" "I'm already involved," she said firmly. "This is my fight, Anakin, just as it's yours. We're stronger together." Ahsoka cleared her throat, breaking the tension. "She's right, Anakin. We need all the help we can get. Let's focus on Waypoint. Padme, how soon can your contacts get us those codes?" "By tomorrow," Padme said. "Stay here tonight. The estate is secure and you both need rest." Anakin hesitated, then nodded. The thought of a night with Padme, even under these circumstances, was a rare gift. But the specter of their enemies, Vexa, the Republic, and the unseen hand behind Order 66, loomed large. That night, the Lake Country was a balm to their weary souls. Anakin and Padme walked along the lake's edge, the moons casting silver light across the water. Ahsoka, giving them space, explored the villa's gardens, her senses attuned to any hint of danger. The Force was calm here, a rare respite from the galaxy's chaos. Anakin took Padme's hand, his voice low. "I'm sorry I didn't contact you sooner. Leaving the Jedi, running with Ahsoka, I didn't know how to explain it." Padme's eyes softened, but there was steel beneath her warmth. "You don't have to explain, Anakin. I know why you left. The Jedi failed Ahsoka, and they were failing you, but I wish you'd trusted me enough to tell me." "I was afraid," he admitted, his voice raw. "Afraid you'd see me as a traitor, that I'd lose you." "You'll never lose me," she said, stepping closer. "I love you, Anakin, no matter what path you choose. But you have to let me in. We can't fight this war alone." He kissed her, the weight of his fears melting in her embrace. For a moment they were just Anakin and Padme, not fugitives or senators, but two souls bound by love. The war, the conspiracy, the galaxy's pain, it all faded, if only for a night. In the gardens, Ahsoka sat on a stone bench, staring at the stars. She thought of Rex, of the clones, of the Jedi she'd once called family. Leaving the Order had been her choice, but the cost was heavy. She wondered if they could truly stop Order 66, or if they were chasing a hope that would burn them all. A soft rustle broke her thoughts. She tensed, her hand on her blaster, but it was only C-3PO, Padme's protocol droid, waddling toward her. "Oh, Mistress Ahsoka, I do hope I didn't startle you. Mistress Amidala asked me to ensure your comfort." Ahsoka relaxed, chuckling. "I'm fine, 3PO, just thinking." "Thinking is a dangerous pastime in these troubled times," C-3PO said, his tone fretful. "But if I may, you and Master Skywalker have brought a spark of hope to this household. Mistress Amidala has been quite distressed in your absence." Ahsoka's heart warmed. "Thanks, 3PO. We're doing our best." As the droid shuffled off, Ahsoka's gaze returned to the stars. Hope was fragile, but it was enough to keep her fighting. Dawn broke over the lake country, its golden light shattered by the roar of engines. Anakin, Ahsoka, and Padme were in the villa's secure chamber, reviewing the clearance codes Padme's contacts had delivered when the proximity alarms blared. Ahsoka rushed to a holomonitor, her eyes narrowing at the feed. 3 Republic gunships descending, flanked by a Mandalorian interceptor, Vexacor's ship. "They found us!" Ahsoka said, her voice tight. "How? This place was supposed to be off the grid." Padme's face paled. "Someone in the Senate must have traced my transmission, or one of my contacts betrayed us." Anakin's anger surged, but he forced it down. "No time to figure it out. We need to get to the Wraith. Padme, you're with us." She shook her head, grabbing a blaster from a hidden compartment. "I'm not running, Anakin. This is my home, and I'll defend it. Get to your ship. I'll hold them off and meet you at the rendezvous." "Padme, no!" Anakin began, but her fierce glare silenced him. "Go," she said. "I'll be fine. Trust me." Ahsoka grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the villa's rear exit. "She's right, Anakin. We can't fight a Republic battalion here. Move!" The villa shook as gunships landed, clone troopers spilling out. Vexacor, her Beskar gleaming, led a squad, her voice amplified. "Skywalker, Tano, surrender, or we level this place!" Anakin and Ahsoka sprinted through the gardens, the Force guiding their steps. Blaster bolts scorched the air, and Ahsoka deflected a shot with a vibroblade, her agility keeping her one step ahead. Anakin hurled a stone bench with the Force, scattering a clone squad, but Vexa was relentless, her jetpack carrying her over obstacles as she fired stun nets. They reached the Wraith, its ramp lowering as Anakin remotely activated the systems. Ahsoka covered him, her blasters downing 2 clones non-lethally. She couldn't bring herself to kill men she'd once led. Anakin dove into the cockpit, firing up the engines, but a rocket from Vexa's launcher struck the hull, rocking the ship. "She's not giving up!" Ahsoka shouted, strapping in. Anakin gritted his teeth, pushing the Wraith into a steep climb. "Hang on!" The freighter roared skyward, dodging blaster fire and missiles. Vexa's interceptor pursued, its agility matching the Wraith's. Anakin weaved through Naboo's canyons, using the terrain to shake her, but Vexa was a predator, her every move calculated. "We can't outrun her," Ahsoka said, checking the sensors. "And the Republic's got a cruiser in orbit. We're boxed in." Anakin's mind raced, his piloting instincts kicking in. "Not yet. There's a plasma storm in the upper atmosphere. If we can lose her in it, we've got a shot." The Wraith climbed, its hull groaning as it entered the storm's swirling chaos. Lightning crackled, and Vexa's interceptor faltered, its systems disrupted. Anakin pushed the ship to its limits, emerging on the storm's far side and jumping to hyperspace before the Republic cruiser could lock on. As the stars blurred, Anakin slumped in his seat, his heart pounding. "Padme! She's still down there." "She's smart," Ahsoka said, her voice firm. "She'll get out. We have to trust her." Anakin nodded, but the fear in his chest didn't ease. Padme was fighting her own battle now, and he'd left her behind. The Stellar Wraith set course for the rendezvous point, a smuggler's outpost where Padme had promised to meet them. Anakin and Ahsoka used the time to repair the ship's damage and plan their infiltration of Waypoint. The clearance codes from Padme's contacts were their key, but the Kaminoan facility would be a fortress guarded by clones and automated defenses. Ahsoka studied the data chip Rex had given them, her mind piecing together their strategy. Nalisi's lab is in the facility's core, heavily secured. We'll need disguises, maybe pose as inspectors or techs. The codes should get us through the outer defenses, but we'll have to improvise once we're inside. Anakin nodded, his focus split between the mission and Padme's safety. We get in, get the records, and get out. No heroics. If Palpatine's behind this, those records could bring him down. Ahsoka's expression darkened. And if they don't? If he's too powerful? Then we find another way, Anakin said, his voice hard. We don't stop until the clones are free and the Jedi are warned. Their conversation was interrupted by a faint signal on the secure comm frequency Rex had provided. It was Padme, her voice crackling but alive. Anakin, Ahsoka, I'm safe. I got out through a hidden tunnel. I'm heading to the rendezvous. The Republic's tightened security on Naboo, so stay off their radar. I'll see you soon. Anakin exhaled, relief flooding him. She's okay, Snips. She's okay. Ahsoka smiled, but her eyes were wary. Good, but we need to be ready. Vex is still out there, and the Republic's closing in. We're running out of places to hide. As the Stellar Wraith neared the rendezvous, Anakin and Ahsoka prepared for the next phase of their mission. Waypoint was their target, but the stakes were higher than ever. Order 66, Palpatine's shadow, Padme's fight in the Senate, it all converged on a single truth. The Republic was rotting, and they were among the few who could expose it. Anakin sat in the cockpit, staring at the hollow of Padme he kept hidden. Her strength, her belief in justice, fueled his resolve. He thought of Rex risking everything for his brothers, and Ahsoka, his partner in this impossible fight. The dark side's whispers were still there, tempting him with power, but their trust kept him anchored. Ahsoka joined him, her presence a steady light. We're almost at the rendezvous. Padme's waiting, and then it's Waypoint. You ready for this? Anakin met her gaze, his determination burning. Ready, Snips. We're not just fighting for ourselves anymore. We're fighting for everyone. The clones, the Jedi, the galaxy. Let's finish this! The Wraith dropped out of hyperspace. The smuggler's outpost a faint speck against a nebula's glow. Padme's ship was there, a beacon of hope in the darkness. But as they approached, the Force stirred, warning of danger. Vexicor, the Republic, or something worse, whatever lay ahead, Anakin and Ahsoka would face it together, their bond unbreakable, their mission clear. The truth awaited, and they would seize it no matter the cost. The Stellar Wraith docked at a ramshackle smuggler's outpost, stood a cluster of Durasteel platforms orbiting a nebula's edge. The station was a haven for those dodging galactic law, smugglers, deserters, and info brokers, but its lawless nature made it a powder keg. Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano stepped onto the platform, their cloaks drawn tight, senses sharp for any sign of Vexicor or Republic agents. Padme Amidala waited in a dimly lit cantina, her presence disguised by a hooded cloak. She rose as they approached, her relief palpable. You made it, she said, embracing Anakin, then nodding to Ahsoka. I was worried after Naboo. Anakin's heart steadied at her touch, but his eyes scanned the room. We're not out of the woods yet. Vex is still hunting us, and the Republic's closing in. Did your contacts come through? Padme handed them a data chip. Fake IDs and clearance codes for a waypoint. You'll pose as Republic tech inspectors auditing commando and production. The codes will get you through the outer defenses, but the facility's core is locked down. Nalisi's lab is there, and she's the key to the biochip records. Ahsoka studied the chip, her leku twitching. Kamino's a fortress, clones, droids, and automated systems. If we're caught, there's no backup. We need a plan to get in and out fast. Padme's expression darkened. There's more. My sources in the Senate intercepted a transmission. Palpatine's ordered increased security on all Kaminoan facilities. He knows someone's digging into the clone program. You're walking into a trap. Anakin's jaw tightened, his anger at Palpatine simmering. Let him try to stop us. Those records could expose him, save the clones, maybe even end this war. We're not turning back. Padme placed a hand on his arm, her voice soft but firm. I know, Anakin, but you can't let anger drive you. The galaxy needs you, both of you, to stay clear-headed. Ahsoka nodded, her resolve mirroring Anakin's. We'll be careful, Senator, but we need you safe. If we get those records, you and your allies in the Senate will have to act fast to use them. I'll be ready, Padme said. Bail Organa's arranging a secure channel to rally sympathetic senators. We'll expose Palpatine, but you have to get the evidence first. The trio finalized their plan. Anakin and Ahsoka would infiltrate Waypoint, while Padme returned to Coruscant under a false identity to prepare the Senate. The outpost's black market provided them with Republic tech uniforms and forged credentials, but the tension was palpable. Every shadow could hide Vexicor or a Republic spy. As they prepared to depart, Anakin pulled Padme aside, his voice low. "If this goes wrong, if I don't make it back, I need you to know I love you. Always." Padme's eyes glistened, but her resolve held. "You will make it back, Anakin. We're going to fix this. Together." She kissed him, a fleeting moment of warmth in the cold void. Ahsoka, watching from a distance, felt a pang of worry. Anakin's love for Padme was his strength, but it could also blind him. She vowed to keep him grounded, no matter what they faced on Kamino. The Stellar Wraith emerged from hyperspace near Waypoint, a sleek Kaminoan station orbiting a stormy gas giant. Its spires gleamed like needles against the planet's turbulent clouds, a testament to Kaminoan precision. But beneath its elegance lay a fortress, turbolaser turrets, clone patrols, and sensor arrays designed to deter intruders. Anakin and Ahsoka, dressed as Republic tech inspectors, transmitted their clearance codes. The station's control tower responded with a cold, mechanical voice. "Codes verified. Proceed to Docking Bay 7. Inspection teams will escort you." Anakin guided the Wraith into the bay, his nerves taut. "Here we go, Snips. Act like we belong, and don't let them see us sweat." Ahsoka smirked, adjusting her fake ID badge. "Easy for you to say. You're not the one with Leku sticking out like a beacon." The docking bay was a sterile expanse, its walls lined with clone troopers and Kaminoan security droids. A Kaminoan overseer, tall and ethereal, greeted them, her elongated neck tilting as she scanned their credentials. "Inspectors Cade and Varn," she said, her voice smooth but suspicious. "Your audit is unscheduled. Explain." Anakin stepped forward, his charm masking his tension. "Republic oversight, ma'am. High Command's concerned about production delays. We're here to ensure the clone program's on track." The Kaminoan's eyes narrowed, but she gestured to a clone commander. "Escort them to the main labs, monitor their activities." The commander, a grizzled veteran with a scar across his cheek, nodded. "Yes, Prime Overseer." His gaze lingered on Ahsoka, a flicker of recognition in his eyes, but he said nothing. As they followed the commander through the station's pristine corridors, Anakin whispered to Ahsoka, "He knows something. Stay sharp." The Force hummed around them, a mix of clarity and danger. The Waypoint's sterile halls felt oppressive, the weight of its secrets pressing against their senses. They passed cloning chambers, their tanks glowing with embryonic clones, and data vaults guarded by droids. Nalisi's lab was in the station's core, accessible only through a secure turbolift. Their escort led them to a control hub where Kaminoan scientists monitored clone development. The commander excused himself, citing a security check, leaving them with a junior technician. Anakin seized the opportunity, using the Force to subtly influence the technician's mind. "We need access to Nalisi's private lab," he said, his voice calm but commanding. "It's part of our audit." The technician blinked, then nodded. "Of course, sir. I'll grant you clearance." Ahsoka raised an eyebrow. "Nice trick, but we're on borrowed time. Let's move." They slipped into the turbolift, descending to the station's core. The lab was a labyrinth of hollow consoles and biotanks, its air thick with the hum of machinery. At its center stood Nalise, her long fingers dancing over a datapad. She turned as they entered, her expression unreadable. "Inspectors," she said, her voice cold. "Your presence is irregular. What do you seek?" Anakin didn't hesitate. "The truth about the biochips, Order 66. We know what it does, and we're here for the records." Nalisi's eyes flickered, a rare crack in her composure. "You tread dangerous ground. Those records are classified beyond your authority." Ahsoka stepped forward, her voice firm. "We're not here to negotiate. Hand over the data, or we'll take it." The Kaminoan hesitated, then activated a console, transferring files to a data chip. "You will find what you seek, but it will not save you. The plan is too vast, too entrenched. Even now, you all watched." As she handed over the chip, alarms blared. The commander's voice crackled over the comm. "Intruders in the core! Lock down the station!" Anakin grabbed the chip, his senses flaring. "Time to go, Snips!" The lab doors sealed, trapping them inside. Nalisi stepped back, her expression neutral. "You were fools to come here. The Republic will not allow its secrets to be exposed." Ahsoka glared at her. "You're okay with turning the clones into slaves. What kind of scientist are you?" Nalise's voice was icy. "I serve progress. The clones are tools, nothing more." Anakin's anger surged, but Ahsoka's hand on his arm steadied him. "Not now, Anakin. We need an exit." Using the Force, Anakin ripped a ventilation panel from the wall, revealing a maintenance shaft. They crawled through, the station's alarms echoing behind them. The shaft led to a service corridor, but clone troopers were already converging, their blasters set to stun. Anakin and Ahsoka fought their way through, their vibroblades and Force abilities outmatching the clones' numbers. Ahsoka disarmed a trooper with a precise strike, while Anakin hurled a squad into a wall with a Force push. But the station's defenses were relentless. Security droids deployed gas canisters, and turrets tracked their movements. "We need to get to the Wraith!" Anakin panted, dodging a blaster bolt. "The docking bay's our only shot." They reached an access lift, but the commander from earlier blocked their path, his blaster raised. "Stand down, Skywalker Tano. You're under arrest." Ahsoka's eyes narrowed. "You recognized us from the start. Why didn't you turn us in?" The commander hesitated, his voice low. "I served with the 501st. I owe you my life, both of you. But I can't let you leave with those records. The Republic's all we've got." Anakin stepped forward, his voice earnest. "The Republic's betraying you, Commander. Those chips in your head, they'll make you kill the Jedi, maybe worse. Help us stop it." The commander's grip on his blaster wavered, his loyalty torn. Before he could decide, a stun grenade rolled into the corridor, its blast knocking them all to the ground. Vexa Corps emerged, her Beskar armor gleaming, flanked by Republic shock troopers. "Nice try, Skywalker," Vexa said, her voice dripping with satisfaction. "But your luck's run out." Ahsoka, dazed but defiant, used the Force to trigger a nearby console, sparking an electrical surge that distracted the troopers. Anakin tackled Vexa, his vibroblade clashing against her armor. The commander, caught in the chaos, made his choice. He fired on the shock troopers, giving Anakin and Ahsoka a chance to escape. "Go!" he shouted, holding the line. "I'll cover you!" They sprinted for the docking bay, Vex in pursuit. The Wraith was surrounded by clones, but Anakin used the Force to clear a path, hurling troopers aside. Ahsoka dove into the cockpit, firing up the engines, while Anakin manned the rear turret, blasting Vex's advancing droids. The freighter roared out of the bay, Waypoint's turbo lasers firing in its wake. Vex's interceptor joined the chase, but Anakin's piloting skills, dodging debris and weaving through the gas giant's rings, kept them ahead. The Wraith jumped to hyperspace, leaving Kamino behind. Aboard the Stellar Wraith, Anakin and Ahsoka caught their breath, the data chip clutched tightly in Anakin's hand. They'd escaped, but the cost was heavy. The commander's sacrifice, the Republic's tightening grip, and Vex's relentless pursuit. Ahsoka inserted the chip into the ship's console, decrypting the files. The data was damning. Schematics of the biochips, logs of their installation, and encrypted orders linking Order 66 to the Chancellor's office. One name stood out, Darth Sidious, a shadowy figure mentioned as the program's architect. "Sidious," Ahsoka murmured. "Who is he? Palpatine's ally? His master?" Anakin's blood ran cold. The name stirred a memory, a whisper from his Jedi days, but he couldn't place it. Whoever he is, he's the key. This proves Palpatine's not acting alone. We need to get this to Padme and the Senate. Ahsoka nodded, but her expression was grim. The Republic's hunting us, and Vex has got our scent. We can't just waltz into Coruscant. We need a safe haven somewhere to plan our next move. Anakin thought of Rex, of the clones still loyal to them. Rex might know a place. We'll contact him, then rendezvous with Padme. But first, we need to lose Vexa. They set course for a nebula known for scrambling sensors, a temporary refuge to regroup. As they traveled, Anakin wrestled with the revelations. The Republic he'd fought for, the Chancellor he'd trusted. It was all a lie. His anger at Palpatine burned, but Padme's words echoed, "You can't let anger drive you." He glanced at Ahsoka, her steady presence a lifeline. "You okay?" she asked, sensing his turmoil. "Not really," he admitted. It's bigger than us, Snips. The Jedi, the clones, Padme, they're all in danger, and I don't know if we can stop it." Ahsoka placed a hand on his shoulder. "We don't have to stop it alone. We've got each other, Rex, Padme, maybe even that commander back there. We keep fighting, one step at a time." Her words steadied him, rekindling his resolve. "Right. One step at a time." In the nebula's swirling mists, the Stellar Wraith went dark, its systems powered down to avoid detection. Anakin and Ahsoka used the time to analyze the data, piecing together the scope of Order 66. The chips were designed to activate on a single command, turning every clone into a weapon against the Jedi. Worse, the files hinted at a broader plan, a new order to replace the Republic with Sidious at its helm. Anakin's mind churned. Sidious was a Sith, that much was clear, but his identity and motives were shrouded. Was he manipulating Palpatine, or was Palpatine himself the Sith Lord? The thought made Anakin's stomach twist. Palpatine had been his mentor, a friend, but the evidence was mounting. Ahsoka, cross-referencing the data with underworld contacts, found a lead. A black market slicer on Nar Shaddaa who claimed to have intercepted Sith communications. It's a long shot, she said, but if we can confirm Sidious's identity, we'll know who we're really fighting. Anakin nodded, but his thoughts were on Padme. She was risking everything in the Senate, and he hadn't been there to protect her on Naboo. He activated the secure comm, sending a coded message. We've got the records. Heading to a safe point. Stay safe. I love you. As they prepared to leave the nebula, the Force stirred, a cold ripple that set Anakin's nerves on edge. Ahsoka felt it too, her hand gripping her blaster. Something's wrong, she whispered. The ship's sensors pinged. A cloaked vessel, small but fast, emerging from the nebula's edge. It was Vexa Core, her interceptor modified with stealth tech. You can't hide from me, Skywalker. Her voice crackled over the comm. The Republic's paying double for that chip. Anakin cursed, powering up the Wraith. Hold on, Snips, this is going to get rough. The chase was brutal, Vex's ship matching their every move. Anakin dove through the nebula's dense clouds, using asteroid fields to shake her, but Vex's tenacity was unmatched. Ahsoka manned the turret, her shots grazing Vex's shields but not disabling her. We can't keep this up, Ahsoka said. She's got backup coming, look. The sensors showed Republic cruisers converging, their transponders marking them as Palpatine's elite guard. The Chancellor was moving openly now, no longer hiding his interest in the chip. Anakin's mind raced. We need a distraction. There's a smuggler route nearby, heavy with pirate traffic. If we can draw Vexa into it, we might lose her. He pushed the Wraith to its limits, skimming a pirate-controlled asteroid belt. Vexa followed, but the pirates, mistaking her for a Republic scout, opened fire, their cannons forcing her to break off. The Wraith slipped away, jumping to hyperspace before the cruisers could lock on. The Stellar Wraith emerged in a quiet sector, its crew exhausted, but alive. The data chip was secure, its secrets a weapon against Palpatine and Sidious. Anakin and Ahsoka rendezvoused with Rex via a secure holo, briefing him on their findings. Palpatine's tightening the noose, Rex said, his hologram flickering. The 501st is being redeployed to Coruscant, and I'm hearing rumors of Jedi being reassigned to isolated posts. Whatever Sidious is planning, it's happening soon. Anakin's resolve hardened. We're heading to Nar Shaddaa to chase the Sith lead, then we'll get the chip to Padme. Can you hold the line? Rex nodded, his eyes steady. For my brothers, I'll do whatever it takes. Watch your backs, General Commander. As the holo faded, Anakin and Ahsoka set course for Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon. The galaxy was closing in, Vexa, the Republic, the Sith. But they had the truth, and they had each other. The mission to Waypoint had cost them dearly, but it had also forged them into something stronger. Not Jedi, not soldiers, but guardians of a hope that refused to die. Anakin thought of Padme, of her courage, her love. He thought of Rex risking all for his brothers. And he thought of Ahsoka, his partner, his family. The dark side's whispers were still there, but their light kept him steady. Ready for Nar Shaddaa, Snips? He asked, a spark of defiance in his eyes. Ahsoka grinned, her spirit unbowed. Born ready, Sky Guy. Let's take down a Sith. The Stellar Wraith roared into hyperspace, its path set for the heart of the underworld. The truth was within reach, but the cost of seizing it would test them as never before. The galaxy hung in the balance, and Anakin and Ahsoka were its last hope. The Stellar Wraith emerged from hyperspace above Nar Shaddaa, its neon-lit spires a chaotic tapestry against the void. The smuggler's moon was a cesspool of crime and opportunity, where credits bought loyalty and secrets were currency. For Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano, it was their last chance to unmask Darth Sidious and deliver the biochip records to Padme Amidala's Senate allies. Anakin piloted the freighter through the moon's congested traffic, dodging freighters and swoop bikes. This place makes Coruscant's underlevels look like a resort, he muttered. Stay sharp, Snips. Everyone's a threat here. Ahsoka, scanning the sensors, nodded. The Slicer's supposed to be in the Corellian sector, a data den called the Black Circuit. If they've really intercepted Sith comms, we might finally get a bead on Sidious. The data chip from Waypoint, clutched tightly in Anakin's pocket, was their leverage, proof of Order 66 and Palpatine's ties to the conspiracy. But Nar Shaddaa was a trap waiting to spring. Vexacor, the Republic, and possibly the Sith themselves were closing in. They landed in a grimy docking bay, the air thick with the stench of fuel and spice. Disguised in smuggler's gear, tattered cloaks and forged IDs, they blended into the crowd, their vibroblades and blasters hidden but ready. The Force guided them through the neon-lit streets, a faint beacon amid the chaos. The Black Circuit was a fortified data den, its entrance guarded by Gamorrean thugs and surveillance droids. Anakin used a subtle Force suggestion to bypass the guards. While Ahsoka sliced the door's lock with a stolen datapad, inside the den was a maze of hollow consoles and flickering screens, its air buzzing with illicit transmissions. The Slicer, a wiry Rhodian named Zeev, awaited them in a shielded booth. His bulbous eyes gleamed with greed as he scanned their credits. You want Sith intel? He rasped. Dangerous stuff. Cost you extra. Anakin slid a stack of credits across the table. Talk. We know you've got intercepted comms. Tell us about Sidious. Zeev's antennae twitched, his voice lowering. Got a fragment of a transmission, encrypted tight. Took me weeks to crack. It's from a hooded figure, calls himself Sidious. He's coordinating with someone high up in the Republic, someone on Coruscant. Couldn't get a name, but the signal traced back to the Senate district. Ahsoka's leku stiffened. Palpatine! Zeev shrugged. Maybe. But Sidious is careful. He uses proxies, dead drops. The comm mentioned a final phase. Something about the Jedi and a new order. That's all I've got. Anakin's blood ran cold. The pieces were falling into place. Palpatine, Sidious, Order 66. Give us the comm data, he said, his voice hard. Now! Zeev handed over a data chip, but his eyes darted to the booth's entrance. You're not the only ones asking about this. A Mandalorian was here yesterday, flashing credits and threats. You're marked. Ahsoka's hand went to her blaster. Vexacor, how much did you tell her? Before Zeev could answer, the den's alarms blared. The booth's door exploded inward, and Vexacor stormed in, her Beskar armor gleaming, flanked by a squad of hired mercenaries. Skywalker Tano, she snarled. That chip's mine! The Black Circuit erupted into chaos. Anakin and Ahsoka dove for cover as Vex's mercenaries opened fire, their blasters scorching the consoles. Zeev scrambled under a table, his cowardice saving him from the crossfire. Anakin used the Force to hurl a holoprojector at Vexa, but her jetpack carried her clear, her wrist rockets blasting the booth apart. Ahsoka, agile as ever, vaulted over debris, her vibroblade clashing with a mercenary's electrostaff. The Force flowed through them, a dance of instinct and precision, but Vexa was a predator, her every move calculated. You can't run forever, Vexa taunted, firing a whipcord that snared Ahsoka's leg. Ahsoka sliced it free, rolling to avoid a flamethrower burst. The Republic's paying a fortune for your heads, and that chip! Anakin's anger flared, but Ahsoka's voice cut through. Focus, Anakin, we need to get out! He nodded, using the Force to collapse a ceiling panel blocking Vex's path. They sprinted through the inn, mercenaries in pursuit. The Corellian sector's streets were a labyrinth of neon and filth, but the Force guided them, their bond a lifeline in the chaos. They reached a crowded marketplace blending into the throng. Vex's jetpack roared overhead, her scanners sweeping the area. Anakin pulled Ahsoka into an alley, his breath ragged. We can't keep dodging her. We need to end this. Ahsoka's eyes narrowed. Agreed. But not here. We draw her to the docking bay, use the Wraith's defenses. Then we get off this rock. They set a trap, leaking their location through a hacked comm. Vexa took the bait, landing in the docking bay with her mercenaries. But Anakin and Ahsoka were ready. Anakin triggered the Wraith's auto-turret, its blasters pinning the mercenaries, while Ahsoka used the Force to sabotage Vex's jetpack, sending her crashing to the ground. Anakin stood over her vibroblade raised. Who's paying you, Vexa? Palpatine. Sidious? Vexa laughed, her helmet cracked but her spirit unbroken. You think I'd tell you? Credits talk, Skywalker. You're just a job. Ahsoka grabbed Anakin's arm, her voice urgent. We don't have time. Republic ships are inbound. Let's go. They left Vexa battered but alive, boarding the Wraith and blasting out of Nar Shaddah's atmosphere. Republic cruisers loomed, their turbo lasers firing, but Anakin's piloting skills, threading through debris and skimming the moon's spires, kept them ahead. The Wraith jumped to hyperspace, the data chips from Waypoint and Zeev secure. Aboard the Stellar Wraith, Anakin and Ahsoka decrypted Zeev's comm data, cross-referencing it with the Waypoint records. The picture was chilling. Darth Sidious was orchestrating the war, manipulating both Republic and Separatists to weaken the Jedi and consolidate power. The Senate District Signal confirmed Palpatine's involvement, but the question remained, was he Sidious or a pawn? Ahsoka's voice was grim. If Palpatine's Sidious, he's been playing the galaxy for years. The Jedi, the Senate, even Dooku, they're all pieces on his board. Anakin's fists clenched, his anger at Palpatine's betrayal burning. He used me, Snips. All those talks, all that trust. He was grooming me for something. I can feel it. Ahsoka's hand rested on his shoulder, her presence steadying. He didn't count on you walking away, Anakin, or on us working together. We've got the evidence. Now we use it. They contacted Padme via a secure holo, briefing her on the findings. Her face, projected in the cockpit, was pale but resolute. This is worse than I feared, she said. Bail and Mon Mothma are ready to present the evidence to the Senate, but we'll need to move fast. Palpatine's declared a state of emergency, citing Jedi treason. The clones are being mobilized across Coruscant. Anakin's heart sank. He's activating Order 66. Not yet, Padme said, but soon. Get to Coruscant. I'll arrange a safe landing zone in the underlevels. We'll deliver the chips to the Senate together. Ahsoka frowned. Coruscant's a death trap. The Republic's got every approach locked down, and Vex's probably tipped them off. Padme's eyes hardened. It's a risk we have to take. The galaxy's running out of time. Anakin nodded, his resolve steeling. We're coming, Padme. Stay safe. As the holo faded, Anakin set course for Coruscant in the heart of the Republic, and now the heart of the conspiracy. The Force was turbulent, warning of a reckoning. Anakin thought of Padme, of Rex, of the clones and Jedi facing betrayal. The dark side's whispers grew louder, tempting him with power to end the chaos, but Ahsoka's presence kept him grounded. We're walking into a storm, he said, his voice low. You ready, Snips? Ahsoka's grin was fierce. Always, Sky Guy. Let's finish this. The Stellar Wraith approached Coruscant under a false transponder and stealth module straining to evade Republic sensors. The planet city glowed like a jewel, its spires hiding the rot within. Anakin and Ahsoka donned disguises, merchant robes over their smuggler gear, and prepared for a covert landing in the underlevels, where Padme's allies awaited. The landing zone, a derelict warehouse in level 1313, was secured by Bail Organa's operatives. Padme greeted them, her relief tempered by urgency. The Senate's in session tomorrow, she said. We'll present the chips then, demand an investigation into Palpatine, but he's moving fast. Clones are patrolling the Senate district, and the Jedi are on edge. Anakin's gaze locked with hers. We'll protect you, Padme, no matter what. She smiled, but her eyes were haunted. I know, Anakin, but this isn't just about us. It's about the galaxy. Ahsoka, checking her blaster, nodded. We need to get the chips to Bail and Mon Mothma tonight. If Palpatine suspects anything, he'll lock down the Senate. Their plan was disrupted by a sudden explosion outside the warehouse. Republic shock troopers, led by Vexacor, stormed the area, their blasters set to kill. Skywalker! Vex's voice boomed. You're out of tricks! Anakin's anger surged, but Padme's touch steadied him. Go, she said. Get the chips to Bail. I'll hold them off. No, Anakin growled. I'm not leaving you again. Ahsoka grabbed his arm. She's right, Anakin. We can't fight here. Trust her. With a wrenching effort, Anakin nodded, handing Padme a blaster. Stay alive, Padme. That's an order. She laughed softly. I'll see you soon, General. Anakin and Ahsoka fled through the underlevels, Vex's forces in pursuit. The Force guided them through twisting alleys and abandoned factories, their agility outmatching the troopers. They reached Bail Organa's safe house, a hidden apartment in the mid-levels where Bail and Mon Mothma waited. Bail took the chips, his expression grim. "This is explosive," he said. "If it's true, Palpatine's finished, but we'll need the Jedi's support to enforce an arrest." Ahsoka's Lekka twitched. "The Jedi won't trust us. We're deserters." "Then we'll convince them," Anakin said. "Obi-Wan's still on Coruscant. If we can get to him, show him the evidence, he'll listen." Mon Mothma nodded. "Do it. We'll prepare the Senate presentation, but move quickly. Palpatine's declaring martial law at dawn." Anakin and Ahsoka infiltrated the Jedi Temple under cover of darkness, using maintenance tunnels to bypass clone patrols. The temple, once a beacon of light, felt heavy with dread, its halls echoing with the Force's warning. They found Obi-Wan Kenobi in the archives, his face lined with exhaustion. "Anakin, Ahsoka," Obi-Wan said, his voice a mix of relief and caution. "You're risking everything coming here." Anakin handed him a copy of the chip data. "Read this, Obi-Wan. Order 66. It's real. Palpatine's planning to wipe out the Jedi, and he's using the clones to do it." Obi-Wan's eyes widened as he scanned the files, his composure cracking. This is treachery! Palpatine's been our ally, our leader. How could we be so blind? Ahsoka's voice was urgent. "There's a Sith involved, Darth Sidious. We think he's pulling Palpatine's strings, maybe even as Palpatine. The Senate's moving against him, but we need the Jedi to act." Obi-Wan's resolve hardened. "I'll take this to the Council. If it's true, we'll confront Palpatine. But you must leave. Clones are surrounding the temple." Before they could retreat, the temple's alarms blared. A hollow transmission from Palpatine filled the halls, his voice cold. "Execute Order 66. Anakin's blood froze. "It's happening!" Clones stormed the temple, their blasters firing on Jedi. Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber, deflecting bolts. "Go!" he shouted. "Get to Padme. I'll hold them off." Anakin and Ahsoka fought their way out, their vibroblades and force abilities carving a path through the chaos. Younglings screamed, Jedi fell, and the temple burned. Anakin's heart broke, but Ahsoka's voice kept him moving. "We can't save them now! We have to stop Palpatine!" They escaped to the underlevels, contacting Rex via the secure communication. His voice was frantic. "The 501st is turning, General. I've got a few brothers resisting, but the chips are taking over. Get to the Senate. Padme's in danger." The Senate district was a war zone, clones clashing with Bail's operatives as Palpatine's loyalists seized control. Anakin and Ahsoka fought their way to the Senate building, where Padme, Bail, and Mon Mothma were barricaded in a secure chamber. Vexa Kor, hired by Palpatine's inner circle, led the assault, her Beskar armor deflecting blaster fire. Anakin faced Vexa, his vibroblade no match for her arsenal, but his force-enhanced speed keeping him alive. "You're on the wrong side, Vexa!" he shouted. "Palpatine's a traitor!" Vexa laughed, firing a rocket. "Credits don't care about sides, Skywalker." Ahsoka flanked her, using the Force to sabotage her weapons, giving Anakin an opening. He tackled Vexa, pinning her, but spared her life. "Walk away," he growled. "This is your last chance." Vexa battered, retreated, her pride wounded. "This isn't over!" she spat, vanishing into the chaos. Inside the chamber, Padme embraced Anakin, her relief palpable. "You made it. The Senate's in lockdown, but we've broadcast the chip data to every senator. The truth's out." Bail's voice was grim. "Not enough. Palpatine's declared himself Emperor. The Jedi are being hunted, and the clones are his army. We need to confront him. Now." Anakin, Ahsoka, and Padme led a strike team to Palpatine's office, joined by Rex and a handful of resistant clones. The Chancellor awaited them, his face serene but his eyes gleaming with malice. "Skywalker, Tano," he said, his voice smooth. "You've caused quite a stir, but you're too late." Anakin's anger boiled, the Force trembling around him. "You're Sidious, aren't you? You've been playing us all." Palpatine's smile was chilling. "Very perceptive, Anakin. Yes, I am Darth Sidious. The Jedi, the Republic, they were tools, nothing more. Now a new order rises, and you can join it. Or perish." Ahsoka stepped forward, her vibroblade raised. "We'll never join you." Palpatine ignited a red lightsaber, his power unleashed. The fight was brutal, his force lightning scorching the room. Anakin and Ahsoka fought as one, their bond countering his strength. Rex and his clones provided cover, their loyalty in defying the chips. Padme, armed with a blaster, fired precise shots, her courage unshakable. Anakin's anger threatened to consume him, the dark side's pull stronger than ever, but Padme's voice broke through. "Anakin, you're stronger than this! We need you!" He faltered, then redirected his rage, using the Force to hurl debris at Palpatine. Ahsoka seized the moment, disarming him with a precise strike. Rex's clones restrained the Chancellor, their chips overridden by sheer will. Palpatine laughed, even in defeat. "You think this ends with me? The Sith are eternal." Anakin raised his vibroblade, but Ahsoka stopped him. "He's beaten, Anakin. Let the Senate judge him." Palpatine was arrested, his empire crumbling before it could fully rise. The Senate, galvanized by the chip data, declared him a traitor, and Bail Organa led a provisional government to restore the Republic. The Jedi, though decimated, rallied under Obi-Wan's leadership, purging the clone chips with Kamino and aid. Anakin, Ahsoka, Padme, and Rex stood on a Coruscant balcony, the city's lights flickering as peace returned. The cost was heavy, countless Jedi dead, clones scarred by their betrayal. But hope endured. Anakin took Padme's hand, his heart lighter. "We did it, Padme. The galaxy's got a chance now." She smiled, her eyes bright. "Because of you, Anakin, all of you." Ahsoka nudged Rex, her grin returning. "Not bad for a bunch of deserters, huh?" Rex chuckled, his armor scuffed but his spirit unbroken. "You taught me to fight for what's right, Commander. I'm just following thy orders." Their path forward was uncertain. The Sith's shadow lingered, and the galaxy's wounds would take years to heal. But Anakin and Ahsoka were no longer Jedi, no longer fugitives. They were guardians, bound by loyalty and love. With Padme and Rex at their side, they would face whatever came next, their destiny forged in the shatter point of their choices. The Stellar Wraith awaited, its engines ready for new battles. As they boarded, Anakin looked at Ahsoka, his partner, his family. "Where to, Snips?" She laughed, the stars reflected in her eyes. "Anywhere there's hope, Sky Guy. Let's find it." The freighter roared into the sky, a beacon of light in a galaxy reborn.